Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ross Draws Something New Every Single Day. Today the topic at hand is dungeon walls, because I think every dungeon master cuts his teeth drawing dungeons. So I'm going to draw in a pretend grid here. Nice and big. And this is the grid that you might be drawing upon. Okay, and then brush pen time. First of all, we draw in the confines of our room. Now, because I've got this much space to work with, we're going to pretend that our room is in this direction. And we're just going to draw a corner today. So that corner is going to be here, with all of this being our room. Yep, with a thin line, we're going to draw in that boundary. And then we're going to switch to a thick line, which you can either do by drawing a thin line twice over each other, or if you have a handy dandy brush pen like me, you can use that. And we're going to draw in the top of our wall. And I'm going to draw it in halfway through this square. So it's going to be a ½ an inch tall, this wall. And I'm going to draw that in here. And I'm actually going to purposely kind of add some jagged elements to it. And then let's throw in our corner now. I'm just going to do a stroke, and to the best of my ability, I'm going to transition it from this thick line to this thin line. Here goes nothing. Yeah, I'll give myself a 3 out of 5. Okay, our next line, I'm going to switch to thin line mode for this one. Our next line is going to be almost halfway down the wall. Almost, but not quite halfway down the wall. So a little closer to that thick line we just drew. And it's going to have the same, though less dramatic, shape variation to it, like this. And I'm going to draw it a little thicker than this line, not quite as thick as that one. And the whole purpose of that is to fake perspective. We're faking perspective. And then our next one, we're going to draw almost halfway between our new line and the bottom line, but a little closer to the bottom line. And this one we're going to draw in rather straight, though if you have a brush pen, give it a little, be a little random with your thickness, just because that's interesting. You'll notice that this is a very imprecise science, and that's fine because these dungeons are old and crumbling, and it'll just add to the atmosphere. Okay, and now, working our way from the floor upwards, we're going to add some brick and mortar. And I'm doing that just by adding in horizontal lines. And now what I like to do is, when you get within about an inch or a grid square of your corner, transition from completely horizontal to this angle here. What's that? That's a 45-degree angle. I remember that much. We're transitioning, and that there is just going to help with the fake perspective. And transitioning back this way. Now, these I'm just randomly spacing about. Just, yeah, doing what I said, randomly spacing them about so that they're rather interesting to look at. But our next layer, which we do next, is going to be deliberately more spaced out in order to give, again, a real shorthand idea that the wall is three-dimensional. But of course, not strictly following any perspective rules, we're just faking it. And I'm going to switch to my thick brush for the next layer. And we do the same thing yet again, but even more spaced apart. Oh, and there I've completely forgotten to transition into my 45-degree angle. Just forget all about that, please. Forgive me. And I hope you can see, that the whole faking the perspective is working rather well. Another little thing I like to do is on this second from the top line, I'm just going to thicken up a random selection of these for visual variety, because it does add a little bit more to the piece. And that is just about done. To add a little more to it, I would kind of transition into the floor texture. Here's some cobble. Cobble is just random rectangles and triangles with rounded edges. Like I've said in a previous video, it's something you can kind of teach your muscles to draw automatically. And once you've drawn it over and over again, you can pretty much just freestyle. But I'll probably make a video on it one day. And then along the edges, this is a pretty cool place for some cross-hatching. I don't like to go all the way around, but just scatter it about, because I don't know, looks nice, I think. But you could try all sorts of patterns out here, because this is the underground section, so you might completely fill it with black if you're using an image editor, or you might leave it completely, deliberately blank and white to denote impassable terrain, or you might fill it with a pattern such as this, or a more rocky pattern, or whatever strikes your fancy. But that is the conclusion to how to draw 2.5D, kind of shifted perspective, kind of, I don't know, Zelda dungeon style dungeon walls. I hope that's been useful to you all, and please let me know what you'd like to see next, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.